What's up guys, and welcome back to the Bonsai Ian YouTube channel. I'm Josh, and today we're going to be doing some pruning on this Japanese maple, so stick around. Alright, so I know the framing for today's video looks a little bit funny at the moment because I've got all this space above my head, but to film this tree properly, I kind of had to raise it up a bit to about my level so I can show you the pruning that we're going to be doing on this Japanese maple. Now, here in Australia at the moment, we're coming into our last month of spring now, and then we're going to be moving into summer. So for this particular Japanese maple, it was transferred over into this, what's essentially a plastic sieve. So we're reducing the root ball. It has been put into a fully inorganic mix now, so we're starting that process of moving over into refinement for this tree. Because we're happy now with how thick the trunk is, we now need to start that secondary work of development on the branching, but at the same time we're going to try and get it moved over into that refinement stage in terms of the root ball. So that's why I've done that. Now, the only work that's been done on this tree was much larger, but last year it had some air layers that were taken off it. So now that we've got those air layers for Shohin material, now we can work on the main material. So up in here, there was a big bit of the branch taken off. It's probably really hard for you to see, but just in here, this was an area where the trunk kept going, so it was cut back to there for taper. And we do have this bit that comes up here as well. So this bit here is actually going to get cut back as well, and we're going to keep one of these branches as our new leader. But what I wanted to show you in today's video, and I do want to make this a quick one, because this video doesn't need to be really overcomplicated. All we're doing today is all these shoots, so you can see these shoots here. I'm really happy with the health of this tree because all these shoots have, you know, up to 6, maybe more sets of leaves on them, which really tells me this tree is healthy and it's ready to be worked on. If your tree doesn't have a good flush like this, then I would consider getting the health in check first, and then once it flushes really strong, then you know you can start doing some heavy work on it. So for this one, what we're going to do is cut back to the branches that we do want to keep and develop, and we're going to get rid of everything else. Really quite simple. So not a lot of, you know, hard work or technical knowledge that goes into this, but I just thought that I would show you my pruning that I'm going to be doing, my reasoning behind what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of, and we'll go from there. So the front of this tree is actually going to be, if I have a good look, so yeah, it is going to be in through here. Now the reasoning for that is we've got a pretty good base on this tree all the way around. So as we move up, we want to look for our line and our movement, and that would be the next thing that we're going to look for. And then also for where the branches are, but for something on this tree, I should say, I'm getting my words mixed up. I do apologise. I've just done a whole day in the nursery potting stuff up out in the sun, and now I'm in here doing this, so I'm a little bit loopy. One of the things that I really want for this tree is because we have such a big wound on the back here where we took off the main trunk, I want to try and hide that as best as I can. So if I can find an angle where that kind of goes towards the back, that would be one of the best options. And then we can kind of still see where our new lead is going to be up in here. So I really think right through here is going to be our front. I know that you can't really see too much at the moment because of the growth, but as the video goes on and we remove some of this growth, you'll get to see that. So as we have chosen our front now we need to go through and have a look at which branches are going to work for us and which ones aren't. So we're obviously going to keep the branches that are going to work for us, and we're going to get rid of the ones that aren't. Now straight away, and it's going to be very difficult for you to see in the video, but I'll explain it to you. In the trunk we have a very slight curve right here, and the outside of the curve is actually right where this branch is. So this branch here, I'm actually going to want to keep because it's on the outside of the first curve. Now, on this side of the tree, we have this branch here that's actually really quite thick, and it's right across from the other one. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm actually going to leave a little bit of a stub there for dieback, just in case. And there's another tiny one above it that I'm going to get rid of as well. So, now we've kept this one, we've got rid of that one on the other side. Now as we move up the tree, if we go this branch, now on the other side we've got this one. So we're obviously going to keep this, and once again I know this is really hard for you to see, but we'll go back through it after I move all the growth. But we've got another branch just here, so I'm going to want to keep that, which means that this one above it just here, we're going to want to get rid of. So once again, just going to cut that off and leave a stub on there. Alright, so now that we've got our branch on here, we've got our branch over here, we're definitely going to need something around the back. Now, just lucky for me that this one branch that's here on the back is actually perfect for this, so I'm going to keep that there. Now, as we move up, we've got our right, left, we've got our back. Now we've got two branches at the front here. Now, this branch here is very thin. This one at the front here is very thick, but this one here is actually in a much better place. So I'm not going to get rid of this branch and keep this one just because this one's thicker, when this one is actually in a better place, because I can always grow this and get it thicker. But there's nothing I can do to move this branch. So off that one comes, we leave a stub, and then we've got that right there. Now obviously, because we've got this one here, we're not going to want this one straight across from it. So, off it comes. Alright, we're starting to get the tree thinned out a bit more now. So, we've got our right, we've got our left, we've got our back, we've got our next one up here. Now, we're going to need another fill-in branch around the back, and we've actually got this little fella out the back here, this one that I'm waving around. So, I'm actually going to keep him because this here, this is now going to be our new leader. And this over here, we're actually going to cut this off. Let me get rid of these. So this big mess that comes up to the top here, we're actually going to get rid of that. So I'm hoping that these branch cutters are actually going to be able to get this off, because these are probably a bit small for this job, but oh, there we go. Good quality Japanese branch cutters. I definitely wouldn't recommend that size cut with these size branch cutters if you've got cheap ones, because you're definitely breaking your branch cutters if you do that. So this is one of those cases, is say as I do and don't do as I do, because yes, as I said, very high quality Kikua Japanese branch cutters. I've got faith that these aren't going to break, but if you're using a cheap set of branch cutters, let's just say ones that cost you under 100 Australian dollars, I don't know what that is US, but I definitely wouldn't be doing that, because chances are you're going to break your tool. So, you know, slap on the wrist for me doing that, but don't you do that. Now, we've pretty much got, let me just get rid of another small branch that's back here. We've pretty much got the structure for our tree now. So that's going to be roughly the front of the tree there. So we've got our right branch, we've got our left branch, we've got our back branch, we've got another one on the right, we've got another one on the back here, and then we go up into the new apex. Now, what I'm going to want to do is, up in this apex, I'm also going to want to reduce this down a bit, because I'm not going to want this to get too thick. We're really going to be trying to slow this bit down now while we let these bottom branches catch up. So the next decision we need to make with this pruning for this particular tree is we now need to say, okay, well, this is going to be the thickest branch on the tree, okay, this one here, and this will be our next thickest one, then the next one up behind there is going to be the next thickest one, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to have to let this one grow as much as possible to thicken up, and we're going to have to try and slow the other ones down. Now, this one on this side, let me just get rid of this bit in the middle. This one on this side has already been slowed down, but we could slow it down just a little bit more by taking those off like that, shortening it up. Now this one that's around the back here, this is actually roughly about the same thickness as our first branch, but it's thicker than our second branch. So we're going to want this second branch to actually thicken up more than this. So we're going to cut this right back to the first set of leaves. So it'll look silly for now, but in the end, it's going to give us our branch taper. So we're going to leave our first branch long. We're going to keep this one cut back for now until this gets a bit thicker. And then once this gets a bit thicker, we can let this one start to run, the second one. That way, as that one's thickening, this one's thickening as well. And then we're going to hold the third one back because it's thicker than the ones below it. And then we're going to do the same up the top of the tree. This apex will thicken really quick if we let that grow, get out of control. So we're going to keep that cut back now. But as you can see, we've gone through, we've heavily reduced the tree. We've chosen our branches that we want to now grow out. These are the ones that we're going to keep on the tree. Anything else we're going to cut off. So the next, I guess, work that'll be done on this maple is just getting this branch taper done, getting the branches thickened to how we want them thickened. So first branch the thickest, second branch the next thickest, and then so on and so forth. As we go up the tree, we get that branch structure taper. And that's basically going to be it for now. We're going to heal this wound that's on the back. This wound that I've just created up here in the apex, we're going to have to work that back a little bit, but I'm going to let that die back some. I've left a stub there for it to die back on. Then once that dies back and gets pithy, I'll work it back with my knob cutters, and then I'll put some cut putty on that, and we're just going to keep this apex cut back. So, just a quick video for you today with no cuts in it, just so you can see the work that I would do around the nursery, what my thoughts would be, what the steps to that are, and I guess that was also a good display of good quality Japanese tools. But I hope you got something out of that. Leave some comments down below if you have any questions about Japanese maples and pruning. I will mention that this was a post-flush pruning. So as you can see, when we first started the video, there was tons of foliage on the tree. That's because as spring started, we let the tree fully flush out. We let all that foliage stay on the tree. We let the tree get energy back from the flush that it put out. And then only at that time, now at the end of spring, have we come through and done that pruning work. So just make sure that you let your trees flush out before you prune them. If you start pruning them straight away at the start of spring, you can cause troubles. But we go over all of that in our Bonsai Beginners course that's on thebonsaidojo.com. So if you haven't signed up for that, definitely go over there and check that out, because there's a wealth of knowledge over there and it's super cheap. But until next time, enjoy your bonsai journey.